Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me from wherever in the world you are right now. My name is Micah Branch. I'm one of the retreat coordinators for the 2025 PARC Playwrights Retreat, and I'm joined by one of this year's cohort, Leahdawn Helena. Leahdawn, how are you doing?
I'm great today. How are you?
I'm very good. It's kind of muggy, kind of gray, but between both of us interns, someone likes every kind of weather. So this is my peer Laura's favorite kind of weather. So, Leahdawn, how has your time in Sackville been so far? How has being here influenced either your writing or your sense of playwriting with your peers? How has it been?
I love being in Sackville. I love the town. It's quiet and it's a kind town, I think. There's a lot of places to write if you need to be out of your own space. Yeah, I just love being here whenever I get a chance to take part in this. And in a like very literal sense, it's a retreat, right? So it kind of takes me away from like the responsibilities that I have and distractions and schedules and routines. And it allows me to like really focus on the writing that I'm doing right now, which I have a problem with focus sometimes. So I really appreciate the ability to really hone in on it.
I love that. Do you find it a little bit daunting to have like all this time just dedicated to your work, or is it like liberating, like you're free to do as you please?
Oh, it's super liberating.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Would you tell us, Leon, a little bit about your script, what you're working on here? If you want to give us like the 50 words or less summary and why to you this is an important story to tell right now.
My script is called Miskamij Madi, which translates in Mi'kmaq to my grandfather Maddie. And it's about the life and times of a Newfoundland frontiersman from the Mi'kmaq community named Matty Mitchell. He's quite famous on the island, but not very well known outside of the island. But he's very important to the history, especially of the west and southwest coast of the island. Um, he did some really amazing things, and this play is structured around him telling stories of his adventures and his time on the land to his granddaughter.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I remember when we read our In Their Own Words event recently this week, you read a really funny, snippy reflection on being inside of a mall and the dread and wealth of feelings that comes with that. I would love to know, is that the kind of stuff you find going to as a writer, like funny, humorous, snippy things, or are there other themes or writing styles you return to again and again?
I love to write humor because
Hmm.
I think everything can be funny if you look at it in the right way. I also sometimes laugh at really inappropriate moments, so maybe it's just me. Um, I found if I didn't find the humor in things, even when I'm writing something dramatically, or if I'm writing tragedy or horror or another genre, if I can't find the comedy in it, it doesn't really speak to me,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So something that's very, I hope, funny, like Tales from the Cash Keeper, which I read on Wednesday.
Hmm.
Um, Even if it's not uproariously funny, I think it's important to find the humor in all things. Otherwise, I think we'd all go mad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree with that. I would say it was uproariously funny. It was very unexpected, and the audience, at least myself in the audience, had a very good time.
I hope it was relatable. Yeah.
It was. I think these are experiences, and there's something actually very poignant about that, like
Mhm.
universal experiences, where you can find humor from. I would love to know as well, Leahdawn, who are your writing inspirations if you have any?
Oh geez, I take inspiration from a lot of different places. I think first and foremost, I write a lot about my community, whether that's the Mi'kmaq community or my family or the queer community. I take a lot of inspiration for my characters and stories from them. So it's really important to me to acknowledge that these are stories that come from my own life in a lot of ways. Um, Also from queer and indigenous and IBPOC people from history or my contemporaries and the people that I know and the people that I love. It's very tangible for me, the idea of what's inspirational. And of course, my peers and the people who are here and the people that I that I tend to surround myself with when I'm at home and the people that I meet who inspire me. On a broader sense, Yvette Nolan. I'm a huge fan of Yvette Nolan, Thompson Highway, Catherine Banks, Bernadine Stapleton, who I have the pleasure of being able to work with
Oh.
often, which is a real treat for me. So yeah, just people who I find relatable inspire me because they're very normal, very down to earth people who just happen to be very, very good
Mhm.
when they have something to say.
I love that. I was speaking earlier with Richie Wilcox, who is one of our retreat cohort this year as well, and they were mentioning drawing from their own life, but then after doing things like verbatim interviews or collecting info about where you live, giving it some time to then be able to tell your own version of these stories was very important. Um,
Exactly.
and I very much respect that. And in that same vein, what does your writing style look like, Leahdawn? I guess now in the retreat, how are you structuring these hours, or more generally, how do you work as a playwright?
Uh, Generally, huh, sometimes writing, and I think I've said this to other people at the retreat, is just staring at a screen for 30 minutes
Hmm.
and thinking and maybe sometimes crying. I think that's an important part of the writing process. The self care that you do, whether it's taking a walk or taking yourself out to dinner or just taking time to have a shower and get good sleep, those are all a big part of the process. In a technical sense, when I sit down to write, I enter a zone where I don't look up, I forget to eat, I forget to drink, everything just kind of disappears around me. And when I look up, it's like 8 or 10 hours later, and I'm like, oh, I need food. Oh, I should definitely hydrate. Um, so what happens outside of that writing is really important to like keeping me alive so that I can keep writing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Hopefully, with the retreat structure, the voluntelling, optimistic energy of our 5 to 7 socials might bring you out of that fugue state. Just enough time to replenish yourself before going back into it.
Well, it's great because if I wanted to, I could stay up and write all night and then sleep all day and go to a social in the evening and repeat it all over again. So, so it's really easy to find structure within the retreat.
That's so lovely. Thank you so much, Leahdawn. Is there anything else you would like to share with the wide World Wide Web audience about what this retreat has been like for you, or things you would like to say?
This retreat, this year and in previous years when I've been lucky enough to be a part of it, really saved my life.
Wow.
The first time I came to this retreat in 2022, which I believe was the first year back in person after COVID,
Hmm.
I was in a very bad place in my life mentally. I was writing things that were sad and hard to deal with, and I didn't necessarily have a lot of support. And coming to this retreat was transformative. I met so many wonderful people. I got so much support for my writing and my mental health. Um, I would encourage anybody who writes plays to just apply, even just for the hell of it, because it's such a wonderful experience. And I think everyone can take something from this experience that is really positive in their career and their life, whatever it is.
That's so lovely. Thank you, Leahdawn. I totally agree. Something that's becoming more and more apparent to me is that we need opportunities that are like across the board, available to anyone regardless of their where they are on their writing journey. Um, and seeing the retreat for that, like folks who are super well established working on their end play, or folks who are trying this medium for the very first time. And I'm very happy to be there as part of this team to help folks wherever they are on that journey.
You're lucky to have you, I have to say that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I love it. I love being here. It's so inspiring. Um, Building this network of people, not only with the same interests as me, but also like in Atlantic Canada, I never felt the urge to leave. I feel very called to being here in the Maritimes. And
It's
so,
it's
yeah,
wonderful to be able to do something that you love in the place that you're from. Not everyone, I think, has that opportunity and that privilege to be able to live where they live and work where they live at what they love to do. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing for Atlantic Canada that PARC exists.
yeah. And I'm very happy to be here to help create these opportunities. But thank you so much, Leahdawn, for joining me today. And I wish you the best of luck with the rest of your retreat and with Grandfather Matty.
Thank you.